So this is the last one we're going to graph, and then we're going to do something else. So I wanted to pick one that was upside down. So step one, I already gave it away, but it's upside down because it's got a negative a. Okay? So 2. We want to find the axis of symmetry. So x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So for us, x equals the opposite of negative 6 over 2 times negative 3. Well, we've got a lot of negative signs there. So x equals 6 over negative 6, or x equals negative 1. So my axis of symmetry is going to be right here. Can't draw a straight line. Okay, so, well, that's the axis of symmetry. All right, now to find the vertex. We know the vertex is on the axis of symmetry, so x is negative 1, and then we'll have to find f of negative 1. We put it into the function. So we get negative 3 times 1 plus 6 plus 5. So that's going to be negative 3 plus 6 is 3 plus 5 is 8. So I'm going to get an 8 there. So negative 1, 8. Okay, so it's a positive 8, isn't it? All right. So it's way up here. And I get that vertex. Now I know it's upside down, so it's going to fit on my grid and everything. So it looks like I'm going to have x-intercepts because it's going to go downward. All right. Now let's find the y-intercept first. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, 5. All right, 0, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there. Right there. And then because of symmetry, I know there's one on the other side right there. All right. Now, when you're graphing in WebAssign, you only have to graph 2 points, and then it's going to graph the parabola for you. But in real life, we don't always have WebAssign handy, and we have to graph these by hand. So that's why I go through the whole process for you. All right, so the next thing to do is try to find the x-intercepts. And so we're going to take our function, negative 3x squared minus 6x plus 5, and set that equal to 0. Now, I would probably multiply both sides by negative 1 just so my a would be positive. Remember, we're going to solve this equation now. So we're not in the function notation. We just have an actual equation that we're trying to solve. But you don't have to do that. I don't think it's going to factor. So I'm going to go to the quadratic formula and see what I get. So the opposite of b, so the opposite of negative 6, plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4 times the a times the c, all over 2 times a. Okay, so what's that going to be? 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 plus 60 over negative 6. Let's see. 12 times 5, yeah, that's 60. It's going to be positive. So I get 6 plus or minus the square root of 96 over negative 6. Now, you could plug that in the calculator right now. What are some other things we could do? Well, we could simplify it. So, let's see, 96, how does that break down? 6 times 16, and I can take the square root of 16, that's 4. So I get 6 plus or minus 4 square root 6 over negative 6. Yeah, this just isn't fun to simplify. All right. Well, if you take out a 2, you could have 2 times 3 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 6 all over negative 6. And then you're going to have to make that, you know, negative somewhere. So you could cancel the 2 and make it 3 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 6 over negative 3. I don't really like that, but you know, that's what I'm coming up with. So I'm going to go to a calculator anyway, but I would have, and this isn't, you know, maybe the best way to write it, negative 3 minus 2 times the square root of 6 over 3 and comma 0. And then the other one's going to be negative. Notice I'm putting the negative out front. 3 plus 2 times the square root of 6 over 3 comma 0. So this is what I get for wanting to do an upside down one. Okay, so let's go negative, and then we'll just say, oh, oops, I'm going to turn on my calculator. So negative, and I'm going to have to put a parenthesis, 3 minus 2 times the square root of 6, and then divide that by 3. So I got like 0.6 comma 0. You could have put it in the calculator right here, and that would have worked just as nicely. So let me do that for this one. I'll go 6, whoops, you've got to put parentheses though. Parentheses around the numerator, so you got to put parentheses in there. So parentheses 6 plus the square root of 96, because my calculator doesn't care if I simplified the radical or not. And then divide that by a negative 6, and let's see what we get. I get negative 2.6 comma 0. All right, let's see if this looks reasonable, looks right on our graph. So 0.6 comma 0, that's going to be, you know, about there. And then negative 2.6, so negative 2.6, going to be about there. About there. Yeah, it looks symmetric. It looks pretty good. A little tricky to find those on the calculator, so you'll have to practice that. Okay, there we go. We graphed our problem.